Yeah, we hope, right? It's funny. You see the trade grades, and then you ask you know, oh, well, what'd you think of this player? When was the last time you saw him? Oh, so we don't know, but we think, and what we wanted to do was supplement and add to the top six, top nine, and I think Vladdy does that, and that's a pretty easy one, right? He has a lot of flexibility and utility with who he can play with and how. He has some versatility to his game. He can score. He's got hockey sense. He'll go and dig pucks. He's just a high-end all-around hockey player, and he's very smart. So he can plug in with, we have pretty smart lines, and that works real well for us. With Kyle, we added depth. We added flexibility in our depth as well, so that he can move around the lineup and bump in and out. And we added leadership, guidance, experience, and similarly, it's great. So we're really pleased. Tobias Bjornfot he's 22 years old, and he was a recent first-round pick. He's already played almost a full season in the league. He played 70 games in LA a couple of years ago. And we looked at it as a prospect with some pretty significant upside, and somebody to come in and we'll work with him and make him a part of things and see where it goes. But we're pretty excited about that as well.
You can add somebody who's more a C. How much more does that add? How much more value does that add?
Yeah, that's a great question. It's so valuable because now you're just bringing more leadership, and not only necessarily in the form of the individual leadership that person brings, but guidance and support and understanding of the other leaders. Hey, maybe I did some things that are going to help you, no, it's invaluable.
I mean, you talk to anybody who knew Kyle from Long Island or Buffalo, and they say he's a heart and soul guy who really helps the culture of a team. I mean, what does he kind of bring in that aspect specifically?
The fact that when I walked down the hall and I told Train Anderson, he jumped up and down and said, "That's the greatest guy I ever met in hockey." So when you have that type of impact across that many levels of the game, and the text that I got from people saying, you don't understand what a great guy this is. That's it, right? You want to be in a comfortable situation. You want to be around good people. You want to be around people who care. And I think he brings all that.
He's also a guy that wants to win, right? Needs to win. Rumors that this might be it for him, who knows, but how important is it to have a guy like that because he may not, I don't know what your lineup's going to look like. I don't know where you put him in, but I don't think he's going to complain. Is that important?
Yeah, I definitely agree with what you said. I don't know it for sure, but I have a suspicion that his hunger to win, and it's evident. I mean, you could see it the last game we played against him. This is a guy who plays hard every single night, and who has had I don't want to use I was going to say a fantastic career, but I feel like I'm selling it short given the impact of everything that he's accomplished. And there's just that level of respect that he brings, but he can still play. He's still a good hockey player, and he's a guy who will, I'm guessing, will contribute in any number of ways to the effort.
Do you expect him to play tomorrow or without practice?
I don't.
Bill had quite a few teammates on this team from Buffalo as well.
Yeah.
Does that kind of play into it? Like, he already has some knowledge of these guys.
It is a wonderful convenience. I think that he is such a player that if we hadn't had any of his former teammates, it wouldn't have changed my mind. But it's a very nice element and sort of eases the transition. And so to that extent, it's very valuable as well.
You know, when you make moves like these, like Vladdy the other day and Kyle today, for the room, when they talk about the buy-in, the commitment they see the grand vision that you guys are going for. When they see you guys doing what you need to give the final touches. What do you think that does for the room?
Yeah, I think they know, but at this point, at least our room, I think they know that we are going to do everything we can to help them do their thing. It's their thing, right? They're the people pay to see them. It's their team. It's their success. But to the extent that we can help, I think the guys appreciate it, and they know that we're all in it with them.
And on that
Can you
note,
pull back
you
the
seem to
curtain?
have the benefit of the doubt with your players, right? I mean, you guys have made some moves to improve the team. They kind of trust you, all right? If Bill and them, they've vetted these, because you guys haven't missed very often, is what I mean.
Yeah, well, we're pretty blessed. And I said it yesterday that the scouting staff, the guys down the hall, they work so hard and they're so thorough in the individual evaluation and also in the decision-making progress where if they really believe in a player, the individuals that we have will stand up and they will support that decision or that recommendation in the face of contrary opinions, and that generally helps us flush it out. And the character and the way that they interact between and among each other is very similar to that end of the hall. And the goal is selfless, it's collective, and they want to get it right. And they're very good at what they do.
Can you pull back the curtain a little bit on how a day like this goes in terms of there's a deadline and bullets are flying and people are talking to lots of people probably,
Mhm.
and how do you get some sort of consensus, and how involved is Paul in all this too, because you're
Well, it starts January, and I touched on it a little bit yesterday where teams are still evaluating, like, for example, our team last year. Do we have a chance here? We thought 100% we do. This is what we're going to do. We're moving forward. Some teams may say, well, we're out of it or what have you, and then the temporal scope of when that happens would dictate in the course of the conversations that take place between and among all the GMs. So certainly early February, everybody's talking to other guys, and I do mine every 2 weeks, right? Little checklist. Just check in. What's going on? Is this guy available? Is that guy available? Once you get past that, now you know. You have the guys that your scouts have identified. Could they help? Who might be available? Surprises, like, oh, who knew? Or injuries. I can tell you last night when Sam Bennett walked down the hallway there for a minute, I was going, oh boy, right? But I was thinking, there's a team I know I have to call. If they call up and they say it's a real serious thing, we were already saying this, and this. We're calling this guy. And so those types of discussions and planning take place, I can't speak for every team, but I'm pretty much guessing, for about a month. In the last 2 weeks, it heightens and intensifies. Remember the Montreal and Calgary made their deals earlier, right? So Monahan moved on, and then Lindholm went to Vancouver. And so that kind of got those early deals out of the way. And that, again, would provoke a lot of conversations, a lot more. And it's really communication and evaluation. In the last week, you're on the phone quite a bit. And, for us, we just want to make sure that we're thorough. And your buddy moves in down the street. He says, you moved in down the street. He goes, yeah, I got the house for $50,000. It's a $10 million house. What happened? I don't know. I asked. So you don't want to ever be in that position, right? And that's pretty much how it goes.
There was an NBA GM once that, and just a couple of years ago, said that deadline time, he estimated that like 2/3 of the league gets talked about. What would it take to get this guy? What would it take to get that guy? Because it's similar in hockey that someone's going to call and be like, what would you want for Mark? Just, does that happen, or does it not go to that fantasy hockey type level usually?
No, it can, sure, right? And except for the guys with no mover, no trade clauses, I think most GMs would tell you, anyone's available. Well, not really. Well, how about Connor McDavid? Well, yep, he's available. So you never know, and that happens. To be honest, it's more collegial and more efficient. So someone might come and ask for a player, and you're like, "There's no way I'm going to trade that guy." But I could see how the other guy would covet that player, and that kind of makes sense that he would ask.
Bill, the team did a really good job on the back end identifying fit, heading into the season, whether it was OEL, Mikula, Kulikov. Now looking at Tobias, why do you think Tobias might fit what you guys now do here defensively so well?
Well, he is a high pick. He's a first-round draft pick who's already played in the NHL a whole season. He played this year in the NHL. He's 22 years old. And you'll have people who will tell you you can't evaluate a defenseman until he's 26. To put it in perspective, if I said to you, there's a 6-foot defenseman in North Dakota, left shot, good skater, can move a puck, kind of a defensive defenseman. And not only is he at North Dakota, but he's played a full year in the NHL, and he's 22. You'd fall over, right? You'd be, oh my God, how can this be? So it's that combination of trying to evaluate a player and then say, what can be? And that part we'll find out.
And just once again, the importance, you get through another deadline, you add all these pieces you really liked, but at the same time, you don't give up any of your top prospects, guys that are going to be important to keeping this window open for a long time down the road.
Yeah, and that to us, as we look at it from an asset inventory perspective, we didn't give up any firsts, we didn't give up any seconds, and we can move forward and keep. Not that we wouldn't have, if we thought that there was something that would have worked and would have helped us, then for sure we would have. But we get to keep those prospects that we have, and we believe in them.
Any other questions? What?
Nothing.
Sorry. I'm not translating. Everybody good? Thank you. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.